Hello and welcome to Between the Sheets. Sable Library is...
Nope.
Yeah, that's a totally different podcast.
Very different podcast.
Between the Shelves. Hello and welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Sable Library podcast. I am the guest host for this episode, Tim from administration, with my co-host, Tory.
Hello.
And Meg from children's.
Hi.
And Lizzie from teens.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about audiobooks. So Audiobook Appreciation, that is June. June is Audiobook Appreciation Month.
It's every month, honestly.
For all of us it is. Yeah. And so we're just, in honor of that, we're talking about all about audiobooks today. So I'm going to hit us with some awesome, cool facts about audiobooks before we get into our discussion. So for Sable Library, I am a keeper of lots of statistics, too many statistics, but I just thought I'd share some statistics about audiobooks that we keep track of. And it's actually kind of surprising how many audiobooks are downloaded every month. So we keep track of ebook statistics, e-audiobook statistics, and so far for the year. So this is June 2023. This is how we keep track of our year. June 2023 to April of 2024, because we go by a fiscal year and our fiscal whatever. So in that period of time, there have been 23,400 e-audiobook checkouts. 23,000.
3,000 of those were me.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So, which is crazy number, around the same number of checkouts as all of last year. So, which would be June of 2022 to April of 2023. So that means we are checking out, we are on track right now. So every year we are growing in the number of checkouts that we have by the thousands, which is really impressive. More and more people are listening to audiobooks every year. Number keeps going up, and our ebook downloads for this year so far are 32,000, which is kind of surprising because
pretty close.
It's getting closer every year. Ebooks are, I wouldn't say they're leveling off. Both of them keep growing, and if you see the percentage, it's like every month compared to the same month previous year, the numbers are like it's going up 6%, 5%, sometimes 12%.
Wow.
It's crazy. What's sad is that sad maybe is not the right word, but our physical collections, those numbers do not go up anymore. They just go down or stay flat. But it's kind of the trend of just, more people are reading or listening to audiobooks. That's great. They're still actually engaging, but they're just doing it in a different format than previously. Our physical audiobooks, the CDs, we still have those. Those are declining in popularity every year. I think part of that is just due to the fact that less people have CD players.
Especially in their cars.
Especially in cars now. So those go down every year, and I don't see us totally getting rid of that, but it is something that, is a reality of audiobooks. And now everyone has a phone that they can just easily listen to audiobooks or read ebooks on.
I'm curious, do you have playaway stats? Because
I should have that, and you caught me. That's a gotcha question.
I'm just curious because I think that's another resource that we offer, because even though people aren't necessarily borrowing our physical items as much anymore, I think it's cool that people are still accessing similar materials in just different ways.
Yes. Can you explain just real quick?
Absolutely.
What playaways are?
Playaways are a vehicle to listen to audiobooks, I would say. Is that fair? A device. That probably makes more sense. But they're battery operated, and I believe we provide the batteries.
We do.
Yes. We do when you borrow them, and you just need a pair of headphones to listen. So for people who don't have a phone or don't have a device that you can listen to audiobooks digitally, that way you can borrow an entire audiobook on one of these small devices, and it's still portable.
It's like an all-in-one MP3 player with a single book on it.
Mm-hmm.
But we only, I believe, have children's and teens playaways.
Do we have teen playaways?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I just am processing a batch to go out in the very near future.
And we were actually late We're actually late to the game on that because they've been around for 10 years, I want to say.
Longwood has a robust collection.
I remember back when I worked at Longwood, they were just coming in, and that was a long time ago.
People really like them because of, like, you just need headphones.
Yes.
And then your book is anywhere with you. Because some
Fun
people
fact,
are still pretty low tech.
They do come with headphones, which we will not circulate because that'd be disgusting. So
it's also good if you like don't want your kids like sitting on their phone, but like they still want to be entertained.
Yes,
and it's still portable.
Yeah,
so yeah, it's really the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and
as a great woman once said,
Hannah Montana herself.
I don't get the reference. So the another thing though that Children's Department also has that they've been doing for a while now is they pair audiobooks with chapter books. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yes.
So those are like early chapter books usually, right?
We primarily still have the early chapter books, but we do still have several like books for older readers. Like I know we still...
Like Harry Potter.
I was about to say Harry Potter, and I'm actually not sure if we still have that series specifically. But the interests of Harry Potter, if we don't have that specific series, we still have books for older kids as well.
Right. And that's been done for a while now. That's been pretty popular too. Just the idea that you can give it to a kid and they can listen if they're having a hard time reading it, and they can read while listening to it.
Yeah, I love it personally, especially if, like you were saying, they're having a hard time reading. If they have the audio going along with it, if they don't necessarily have the support of somebody to sit and read it to them, they're still having it narrated, and then they're following along with the text, which is helping with some of those early literacy skills.
Yes, and one more thing that we just are adding to the collection in children's. Tori, what is that again?
Wonderbooks.
Thank you. Can you explain those, please?
No. I know it is an audio-enabled device that has books. Do you know more about the Wonderbooks, Meg?
I have not seen the ones that we are adding to our collection, but I do know that Wonderbooks they have the device kind of inside of it, so it's a similar concept to our read-alongs that Tim was just talking about with the books and the audio in the same bag that circulate together. But a Wonderbook, I believe, has some kind of a button that you play, and as you turn all of the pages, it's all in one.
Yeah, it has
book and audio together. It
has a little mechanism in the corner of it that is like, pause and play and stuff, and then it's attached to the physical print book. Sort of like, do you remember those books from like being a child where it has the buttons that do sounds or say something, and you press it as you read?
It reads it to you.
Yeah,
that's a really good comparison.
And the age level for that, I think that's...
We make Wonderbooks for really most ages, so it really depends on the items that we have coming in.
They're imminent. Like I'm about to receive them this week,
so perhaps by the time the podcast airs.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for those.
Mm-hmm. Watch the library Instagram. The children's department will post about it,
and they'll be hitting our shelves soon, and then hitting your hands soon, and your ears.
Not physically too hard.
Please be gentle with library items. Thank you.
One last thing. So audiobooks are the fastest growing format in the book publishing industry. And even though they've been around for a while, they've been around since the cassette era. They are just really, I think the digital version is just exponentially growing. The audience, and probably also having to do with that is the popularity of podcasts, I think has helped with making audiobooks more popular too.
I agree.
Thank you. So we're going to start by asking, what made you start listening to audiobooks? Tori.
Well,
putting you on the spot.
What made me start listening to audiobooks was Meg.
Really?
I have a tag on my Goodreads account where I keep track of different information about the books, and I have an audio tag, and I scrolled back beyond where the audio tag began, like the year, and in 2019 I did not listen to audiobooks. I've listened to a couple, when I was younger, but Meg and I and our friend Jess from Smithtown Library have a book club together, and it started during the lockdown. We had a Zoom book club, and I audiobook listened to, I think, every book that we read for it, but definitely the first one.
Which was?
I don't remember what it was, but it wasn't worth...
I'll find it.
It wasn't good. But,
the worst book I ever read.
Oh my God,
or
please,
listened to.
Please find it.
But after that, I just been exponential. At that time, I was mostly reading a lot of graphic novels and manga, but every year it's been leaning more heavily towards audiobooks. And I to the point where I need to work on that because I have a hard time with like reading a book, like giving it my full attention. But it's Meg's fault.
I'm so sorry. I love that you're listening to audiobooks, but I hate the reason. For anyone wondering, the book is called Mr. Nice Guy by Jennifer Miller and also her husband, Jason Pfeiffer.
Is that the one? No.
Wait, they co-wrote it together?
They did.
Is that the one where she's a journalist or whatever?
Yes.
For that newspaper?
I think,
Oh,
yeah.
God. Oh, she has the column.
They get conned into writing some kind of a column together about dating, and after reading the book, I learned that maybe this couple should get divorced. It sounded funnier than us meaning it.
But you're right, and you should say it.
Thank you.
Meg, since you are the one that introduced me, how did you get into audiobooks?
So my reason's really different. My dad's a fire officer in the city, and when I was a kid, he would study for his civil service promotion tests by reading all of his notes and his books into a tape recorder and then listening to them in the car when he drove to work.
That's amazing.
But also when he would run errands with the kids in the car. So my first time listening to an audiobook was a self-made audiobook by my father. I learned a lot about fighting fires in New York City. It was great. But after that kind of stuck. So I like to listen to audiobooks in the car. When I got my license, I would listen like driving to school or whatever. And that kind of translated into kind of just listening a lot. So when Tory started, like for that unfortunate book club, I listened to that book in particular because I didn't want to read the actual book we were supposed to be reading with my eyes. But for other things, I enjoy just listening while I'm doing other activities.
Lizzie.
I actually really didn't like listening to audiobooks like until a couple months ago. I was just tired from reading and writing in school because I was doing that literally all the time, and then I didn't want to sit and read like 400 more pages. So I started doing that, and I multitask. I do puzzles a lot.
That's a question for later.
Oh, sorry. So that's what I do. But yeah, I listened to a lot the past couple months.
So you're one of the newer audiobook listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but I'll wait because it's something else later.
How did you get started, Tim?
So I started, I think the first one I listened to was Game of Thrones. So the first book, was that Game of Thrones? I think it was. Song of Ice and Fire is a series.
I think the first one is.
It's Game of Thrones, right? Okay. And that was when I was commuting to other jobs, and I had like a 20 to 25 minute, sometimes a 30-minute commute. So pre-podcast days and just CDs, that was it. And so I would take out the Game of Thrones books, listening to those, and they are notoriously long books and extremely, 20-something discs, CDs.
Punishingly lengthy.
Oh, yeah. But good for a commute. But it would take so long to get through them that it would be months of listening to it, which I didn't mind because I love that series. But that was that. And then, of course, Harry Potter, which is famous for their audio. I think that really...
I think it's won awards for the...
It's like a gateway drug for audiobook listeners.
Jim Dale.
Jim Dale.
I have notes about him.
Yes, Jim Dale was going to come up. So those two audiobook series were really what got me into it. And the commute, those things. I've always had at least a 20-something minute commute. So it kind of just lent itself to the format.
Your mention of the two that got you into it bring a question to my mind for everyone, which is there a certain genre that you all prefer to read or listen to, rather, for audiobooks, or are you indiscriminate? Because you mentioned that you started with 2 fantasy series, so... I
just love fantasy series in general, but I don't think I care... I've actually avoided nonfiction for a while now. But this year is my year of nonfiction because I'm listening to / reading so much more. And I think I'm actually listening to nonfiction more than reading it. And it works. So I do like that. But I don't personally have a preference.
Meg, what do you think?
I find myself anytime I'm tempted to read nonfiction, I almost exclusively listen to it on audio, just because I think, like Lizzie was saying before, I got burnt out from having to read dense texts for school that didn't have an audio option, and now I can't bring myself to read, even if it's not a dense nonfiction, something that isn't
factual.
Something that's factual. I just find myself wanting to listen to it, and I think a lot of times the narrators are usually pretty interesting, and I get something more out of it. Also, I tend to pretend that I'm listening to a podcast because despite being on one right now, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. So nonfiction books I read are my podcast.
Books are my podcast.
That's a bumper sticker somewhere.
But I also enjoy listening to fantasy on audio as well. I think it's easier to get into a story with a lot of world building when someone else is reading it to me. So I find myself doing that a lot.
What about you, Lizzie?
I listen to thrillers all the time. I exclusively listen to Frida McFadden's whole series everything just on audiobooks. That's really it. I don't listen to rom-coms or anything. I don't know. I just really thrillers.
You'll read them, but you don't listen to them.
Yeah, I don't really read fantasy either. I get so bored. I really try. It's just a lot of world building. Because sometimes it's I feel like it's a whole entire book of just building something up.
Yes.
Nope.
That's why I like when other people read it.
Yeah, just tell me about it, and that's good enough.
That is my, I mostly listen to fantasy or romantasy via audiobook because I like the concept of fantasy, but the names, especially high fantasy, the names and the deep details, I have a hard time focusing on myself. But if it's somebody's telling me about it, it makes it a lot easier to me. And unlike you, I don't really like listening to, not that I read a lot of nonfiction, but it's hard because it feels like someone's doing a lecture at me, I guess. So it's sort of the opposite of Meg and Lizzie. It feels like I'm at school. So I
that's fair.
Prefer to read it myself, and then it's more I'm learning something.
Yeah.
On my own accord. I don't know.
So the Anxious Generation, which is a really popular book right now, and then another nonfiction book, what was it? I can't remember. But there's Stolen Focus, Johann Hari. So those two books are kind of fact-heavy-ish, but just enough to not be like you're reading a textbook. And I think I got through those so much quicker than I would have if I was just regular reading it physically, that it really helped. The only thing, though, with nonfiction and listening to it, and I don't know if you have this issue, but when you are doing other things, as you normally do when you're listening to an audiobook, for nonfiction where I'm I really want to absorb what this person is talking about, writing about, it's harder for me to absorb.
Yes, I agree. Especially, I tend to, I think we're going to touch on this later, but I tend to listen to my audiobooks very quickly. Maybe too quickly. Tori's looking at me right now. But when I'm listening to something that I do want to listen to, especially if I'm doing something else, I want to listen to all of it. I should not have said that. When I want to listen to nonfiction that I specifically really want to absorb, I tend to listen slower because I feel like I have to work harder to pay attention to it, even if I am doing something else.
I think I listened to both of those books probably at just the normal speed, just because I wanted to listen to, I wanted to absorb it. So I tried to stick to it on my drives because that's when I can actually pay attention more. I get all right.
No, but that's a good point though, because I will listen to nonfiction more when I'm driving than when I'm doing the dishes.
You're paying attention to the road, but that's automatic. And then you're listening to the audiobook. It's hard to explain, Tory. Just try it sometime. You won't get into a car accident.
I listen to books when I drive.
But for a nonfiction book, you do kind of have to pay attention closer to what they're saying.
But if the only things you're paying attention to are the road and the book,
right,
it's less distracting than also paying attention to someone in the background, the noise of whatever activity you're doing,
right,
something else happening, you drop something, you're not listening. Screaming. That too. 2 children screaming.
Yeah. So thank you, because that's it. I don't know, just for whatever reason it works.
As a group, are we all? It sounds like we're all a fan of multitasking while we listen to our audiobooks. Puzzles is a really interesting activity. I feel like doing the dishes and driving are the big two, but puzzles I have not heard of before.
Yeah, I mean, I have like a mat, and it literally is so big it takes up the whole like center of my room. But yeah, I just sit and I do them. That's like my quiet time. I honestly get really distracted when I drive to begin with. Sean says I'm a really bad driver, which was humbling, but that's okay. Insecure about that right now, but that's okay. I can't like focus. It's too much going on. So usually I just do something at home, or like, I don't know, even if I'm doing like laundry or something, like the dishes, I just also get distracted. And then I'm like, wait, what happened? And I have to like, go back like 15 minutes. So
It's interesting because I feel like doing a puzzle takes like active focus, but you are able to split your attentions for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at puzzles, honestly. So it's not like strenuous. Like I'm not like really working my brain.
Maybe it's like a left brain, right brain thing.
Probably.
Not that I have any scientific evidence of that, but you never know.
You have to find an audiobook about that.
I
Listen to it on 1x speed while driving.
Yeah, I like to do. I'm usually driving while I'm listening to podcasts or folding laundry, giant piles of laundry. If not that, though, mowing the lawn.
Oh, that is interesting too.
Like, really loud headphones.
I have to do it noise canceling. Works pretty well.
Really?
Like over ear type of.
No, just a regular. Was it the
AirPods.
Pros? The AirPod Pros.
That broke on mine. The noise canceling, it just doesn't work anymore, which is
canceled
the
too much
reason
noise.
that I honestly would only, I don't know what happened, but it doesn't work anymore.
But it does, like, mowing the lawn is kind of, you're zoning out anyways for the most part. So just avoiding dog poop for the most, and then you're going. So I think it just works.
I've done a lot of, I will knit while I listen to a book. Although sometimes when I'm knitting, I don't want to pay attention to something with a narrative because I will mess up if I'm not paying close attention to the knitting. But if it's a book that I'm like deep into and I'm already familiar with the characters and the voice, I feel like I can give some of my attention to a book while I'm doing that. And it's a good way to take up hours because both things take a long time.
I don't think I could do, for hobbies, I paint and draw. I've tried audiobooks and I can't do both at the same time. Podcast, yes, because again, it's like the details don't really matter, but I really want to focus on a story. I can't do painting or drawing.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what everybody's saying, but I was thinking about what Tory just said, and I think there's really something to be said about the place you are in the book and when you can kind of share your attention with something else, because I would do just about anything while also listening to an audiobook. Like, I do laundry, I drive, I walk the dog. I don't do puzzles, but I will like put my phone on airplane mode and then just like play a game on my phone while listening. I did that almost exclusively every single night during COVID lockdown. I would like light the same candle and listen to a book. And that's why I finished like a book a day in 2020. And I distracted myself. But anyway, I'll do a lot of other things, but it depends on like what activity I'm going to do. Like if I'll listen to music or if I'll listen to my book, depending on where I am in my book.
Do you think, since you feel similarly about where you might be in the book, I'll say for me, if I'm starting a new audiobook, I don't want to be doing anything that takes my attention because I need to learn what's going on. But like I said, later in a book, do you find that you will do the same thing, or do you jump right in no matter what you're doing?
I think I also need to, the first couple of chapters, I need to be doing something really easy if I'm listening while I'm doing something else. Like just like not cleaning something, like without needing to pay attention to it. So yeah, I agree.
So moving on from multitasking, what, in your opinion, makes a good narrator? Because a narrator is super important if you're going to really get into this book or not. And there's plenty of narrators that are fine that you won't like
Serviceable.
They
get the job done.
Maybe you don't care to follow them in whatever audiobook they do next. But there are those types of narrators out there, like the Jim Dales. So what makes a good narrator, in your opinion?
I don't know if this is rude, but I do not like British accents.
Me too.
Wow.
It literally makes me like actually aggravated, and I cannot listen to an audiobook. Or Australian accents are really hard to understand sometimes. So no accents for me. But like I like when they feel like they're acting, you know, and like you could tell, or like they do different types of voices. Yeah. No, I'm not really too specific, but I do not like accents. And I think I prefer, women.
Do you, with the accents though, is that specific to you don't like British people narrating, or you don't like English or Americans doing British accents?
I don't even like British TV. I can't watch
this
it.
is just in your life.
I just I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just don't like it. Or also, oh my god, there was this one book I listened to where the woman tried to do a New York accent the whole time. And it was terrible. Oh my god, I hated it. But it was really good, so I needed to finish the book, but her accent was so bad.
Sometimes it's more important what you don't like versus what you do like.
That's true.
Yeah,
because something I wrote down is I don't mind accents, but I cannot stand bad accents. Like, a British person reading a book is fine, but like an American doing the world's worst Cockney accent, I cannot listen to. Especially, I listened to one, I wrote it down specifically. There was this man who is American. I've heard him read other things. I think he's a great narrator. He had to do a Russian accent for one book.
I remember this.
And it made me want to not finish the rest of this entire series.
Wow.
Because that audiobook was so...
You got the egg.
I really did.
It was a hockey romance, wasn't it?
It was.
Ew, that's even more no.
There was a lot happening.
Yeah.
The Russian accent was distracting from all of it.
And there was a Russian character throughout the whole series.
Yeah. This was the book that was focused on him, and that's when I said, maybe the series isn't for me.
Good now.
And it was the fourth book. I'd read 4.
This man ruined the book series for you.
He did. It's fine. I got over it.
I can't say I've encountered really any bad accents, but I struggle so much with British accents, not because I hate them like Lizzie, but since I don't know if we'll get to it specifically, but since I like to listen to books at a faster speed than regular speaking, British people already talk at a fast clip.
That's true.
So if I speed it up, it's hard to understand, and it takes me a lot longer to get into the cadence of the reader to where it sounds natural. And I don't want to be spending a lot of time doing that because I don't want to focus on the book. I want to do the dishes while, I want to do my multitasking. So I really don't like when I play an audiobook, and sorry to England, but when that's the accent, it's I know I'm going to have to focus more.
Yeah.
I won't stop listening, but I won't like it.
I do adjust. Oh,
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say I do adjust my speed for British narrators.
Slowing it down.
I slow it down. So I'll read British narrators at a 1.8, and then I normally listen at 2.3 or higher.
We didn't get there yet, but
it was just important because it was British.
That's so fast.
Sorry.
She had to flex the speed.
That's admirable.
I
Before
just
Tory
mentioned
could
as many
flex her
times
speed.
as possible.
Well, mine's not anything like that.
I literally listened on 1.
You gotta...
Maybe
You gotta step it up a little.
1.18. That's what I do.
You gotta... We'll work on it.
I like to just think, and I don't want to be like, what happened?
Well, I do want to say that I don't know if you'd call it the cadence, but the speed that the narrator reads at, for me, is important because anytime there's too many pauses in between what they're saying, that drives me crazy. And I need them to really, so that will change how fast I listen to something, which is nowhere near YouTube. It's 1.25 is probably the highest. 1.5, now we're just talking about it. Okay, so we're just getting into speed right now.
No.
We're all doing speed right now.
Maybe if you guys took speed, you'd be on our level with listening to audiobooks quickly.
1.5 is when I want to get it over with. I'm done listening to this book and I just want to be done with it. And that doesn't matter if the narrator is quick or not. I just need it to be over.
That's fair. When I need it to be over, I make it 3.5.
That is insane.
Can you even understand what they're saying?
Unfortunately, yes.
Wow.
I think it's one of those things though, if you are listening long enough, you get used to it.
You get used to it, exactly.
Because I remember, for the library, we do have talking books, which we didn't mention earlier, but talking books are an early version of audiobooks for people that are visually impaired. And they were back in the day, they used to be in these giant yellow cassette players with big buttons on them so they could feel it out. And I always remember the speed of those would be pretty high. But they could choose, but it was for most of them, they would just listen to it at a very
Because you're
high
used to
speed.
it, and
They
because
get
it's your
used to it.
main.
That's
source of-
that's your input right there. Is your only input for that.
So that makes sense. That's really interesting. I never thought about that.
I think there's a lot to be said for like working your way up to a higher speed, because I think we talked about this during our book clubs. I didn't start out at any high speed. My speed tops out at 2.0, and that's if I really want to get through something, like because I either really like it or don't like it. But normally I sit at 1.75 is my normal. But I had to work my way up to that. Like I spent like a year listening at 1.25, and then if a reader was really good, I would bump it up and see how I felt about that. Sometimes I still do that within a book. You know, I'll start it out slower and work my way up.
I do the same too, just to get used to that narrator.
Yes.
And then once you're used to them, then you can start upping it.
So Lizzie, you too one day can listen at 3.5.
Maybe.
Crazy talk.
That's really fast. But I admire that. That's cool.
Maybe we'll just mute some of your other senses. Like if you stop puzzling and just only listen.
Yeah. In like a dark room. Or
In a dark
something.
room, like a sensory deprivation.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
exactly.
In one of those salt pools.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do think it's kind of amazing though, like how your brain adapts to that and can just
And if you
becomes
listen
natural.
to it on normal speed, they sound like they're moving through molasses.
Yes.
They really do, though. It
Sometimes
drives me
it's really slow.
crazy.
Sometimes it's really slow.
Oh, here's something though I wanted to add. What is your opinion on author narrated books?
Are
Love
they
it.
good or are they bad?
Can I wait? Sorry.
Please go.
Okay, Julia Fox, Down the Drain. I don't know if anyone knows who Julia Fox is.
Mhm.
Oh my god, like that is the best book I've ever read. Like I swear to God, that was amazing.
And so
And-
her reading it.
It's her memoir, and she read it, and her story is insane. Wow, it's like imagine every worst fear you have, like it happened to her. It's crazy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, but it's like
And she
it's
dated Kanye West.
it's so eye opening. It's really, and she read the whole thing, and that's like my favorite ever. So.
I think something that I feel strongly about with authors, I think authors narrating their memoirs is amazing. Like, no notes, like, it's great. No, every time, even if they're a bad narrator, it's their story, and I think that's really interesting. But an author who wrote just a general nonfiction or a fiction book, whatever, if they don't know anything about narrating, maybe they shouldn't be a
Maybe they shouldn't
narrator.
do that.
And sometimes they're great, but other times they're really not.
But some authors are really suited for, like, they should exclusively read their own works. Like Neil Gaiman.
That's number one, right?
I think it's number
Neil
one.
Gaiman is number one.
He just has such a relaxing voice. And I think...
British though.
But not in the way of the British audiobooks that I hate.
More in the way of Jim Dale, who is also British, and we've been talking about him, and
Yeah.
we can all listen to him.
True.
Neil Gaiman is very listenable.
I have no problem with British accents for whatever reason. So it doesn't bother me. But I do think the author narrator thing for memoirs. So I listened to Jeanette McCurdy's audiobook.
Amazing.
Really-
She's also an actress, though.
She is an actress, but she commanded it and she did great. And I really didn't know who she was, anyways, and listened to it anyways. And it was a great book.
If you
Great
knew
memoir.
who she was, that would have been like 10 times better.
Yeah, you have to
Still
go back
really
and watch
good.
the iconic iCarly.
Never happening, but it was still really good. So I think we can all agree, author narrated, pretty much good.
Can be good.
Can be good. And with a memoir, it's always good.
So a funny little thing that happened with the last nonfiction book that I read, which was Anxious Generation, that had an intro from the author, but he didn't do the rest because, and he actually he put this in the intro, that he had basically vocal, it's not vocal fry, but he basically just, his vocal cords were shot, so he couldn't do it. But he did do a long, and it would have been interesting, so it was interesting hearing this intro from him, and then he basically set it up for the narrator, who is like, this guy's great, he's a great narrator, but then your brain has to adjust to like the voice. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but like the narrator being a different person.
Especially if it's someone in the memoir that you're familiar with already. Because I also experienced that when I read Alex Trebek's memoir, because that's narrated, he has like an intro.
Okay.
And then Ken,
Oh,
the Jeopardy winner,
Ken
Jennings narrated the rest of the book.
Interesting.
And that was weird because even though Alex Trebek introduced it and like set us up for it, Ken Jennings does not have Alex Trebek's voice.
No.
So that was interesting.
Weird.
Yeah.
That reminds me a little bit of the Britney Spears memoir that was read by Michelle Williams,
Yes.
who is an acclaimed actress, but I've lost. But she has, like, Britney Spears has a voice that's very recognizable. People know it, and it's her story. So it seemed, I haven't listened to it, but I've heard clips, and it was really jarring. She was reading it very in a monotonous sort of
She
tone.
kind of has a monotone voice.
Yeah, but I think it's not what you expect for that story, so that seemed like a weird choice.
Such a weird choice.
Yeah, that was disappointing to see she didn't read it. Because that was such a big moment. But, you know, she has her own stuff going on. So.
It's very
she also
true.
explains at the beginning of the book why she didn't narrate it. Because
Oh,
I did
did
listen
she?
to that, and she
Oh.
basically said, "Hey, I'm sharing the story with you. I can't read it to you too.
Oh,
This was a lot, and I'm putting it out there, and so here's somebody else. Enjoy."
Yeah,
but
that's
I don't
true.
think she said enjoy because it really wasn't an enjoyable
Experience.
story or experience.
But perhaps a different non-Britney reader.
I agree.
been
I
better.
think it could have been a different narrator, but I understand why she didn't read
Sure.
it. Also, with that book, I think maybe if we waited a little bit further in time from these events for her to happen, this book itself would have been different, and then perhaps she would have narrated it. But that's not what this podcast is about.
Well, that was one of the points I did want to make about celebrity authors / narrators. I don't think I have as much experience, anywhere near as much experience listening to audiobooks as you guys, but it sounds like that's one of those cases of a celebrity narrator, but wasn't actually narrating. Are there any others that are out there?
Paris Hilton did hers. I didn't listen
Okay.
to it, but I heard it was really good because she narrated the whole thing. And her story is crazy. I talked about that on the other one.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with that one.
I'm going to have to add that to
Yeah, Julia Fox, Down the Drain, and Paris by Paris Hilton. So good.
One that I know you've read, Tim, the Thursday Murder Club book, is narrated by Leslie Manville, who I actually was not familiar with before I listened to it. Like, I knew the name, but and I didn't look to see who it was before I listened to it, and I was pleasantly surprised because I give a lot of credit and respect to, like, professional audiobook readers and narrators. So if I had known it was her, I might have felt differently, but
She's not a...
she's an actress.
Oh.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But did a very good job on this audiobook.
And that book is such a that series is so character driven that when you listen to it, I'm physically reading the fourth book, but I listened to the first and the third. I skipped the second. Don't ask me why. I'll probably go back to it someday. But listening to it, it's the voice, I can still read it now and have the voices of the characters from her, which is kind of a testament to how good she is. Yeah. Moving on. So, what are some of your favorite narrators out there in the world? I have like kind of a very narrow focus, I think, on my audiobooks. So, Tory.
Well, first, because I know Meg has one that she will be talking about, and I want to see if I'm correct.
Oh, you want me to say mine?
Yeah,
Julia Whalen.
do it. Tell us about Julia.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to talk about yours. Where are my notes on her? I love Julia Whalen. She also actually is an actress. But her primary gig now is audiobook narrating. And when I went to make a list of maybe ones I didn't realize she'd narrated or something to talk about here, she has, I think, like over 500 books that she's narrated.
Okay.
Like a pretty substantial catalog. I wanted to brag, though, in my notes that she's really well known right now because she has a good partnership with Emily Henry. So the author of Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation. Her most recent book is Funny Story. And Julia Whalen has narrated all of her most recent releases. And their partnership is really great. And it's kind of, I think, made a lot of the two of them a lot more popular in the last few years. Even though Emily Henry's been writing for a while and Julia Whalen's been narrating for a while. And I listened to both of them first. But she's great. She also, thank you so much. She also narrated Tara Westover's Educated, which, to kind of go back to nonfiction, I don't think I ever would have read that book. It's also a memoir. But I wouldn't have read that if I wasn't listening to it, just because that story, like when I read, I like to read for escapism, and that story is so sad. But it was really amazing, and I'm glad that I still got to experience it while having someone else read it to me. And Julia Whalen's voice is just so great. And she is able to do voices for fiction characters very well, but even just she helps you to feel really present in a story, which is great because I like to multitask a lot while I'm listening. So she's my favorite.
She narrated her own book. What's the title of it?
The one you're talking about is called Thank You for Listening,
and
which is very meta.
It felt like she wrote that book because she needed a catalog of every voice that she is able to do. Like she does 1,000 voices in that book, like men, women, accents.
And very well.
Yes, it's incredible.
Because that is another thing of like kind of a pet peeve, kind of, what are you looking for in a good narrator of can you do voices, should you do voices? And
she can and should.
Yeah.
And she should. To the point where, specifically with Emily Henry, people thought that there were 2 narrators for a couple of her books because her man voice is
crazy,
so good.
Right,
and also does not sound like, I mean, obviously she's doing voice, she's a professional narrator, but like people legitimately thought they brought a man in to narrate.
Didn't she? I think she made a nod to that in the book when she was like meeting readers who were like, and who's the guy?
Oh, yeah. So anyway, the book, the Thank You for Listening, is a story about 2 audiobook narrators. And so she really threw in a lot of her own, it's not autobiographical, but she threw in a lot of her own like little experiences to help round out the characters. It was really interesting.
And that narrator is...
Julia Whalen.
Julia Whalen. So are you able to look up on Libby
books that we have by her?
Yeah, just like the narrators only.
Yes.
Okay.
If you go, like if you literally just scroll down
You can tap
and click the name, click her name. What is it? Oh, are you on the audiobook one?
Probably not.
That's step 1. If you go to just like any of the audiobooks. Wait, scroll up. Are you like all the way up? Are you?
I'll find it.
No,
I'll find it.
I was gonna.
It's all right.
Do you want to know?
Oh my god.
What's that?
Currently, on the Library Libby, we have Funny Story by Emily Henry, Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle, The Women by Kristen Hanna, basically every single Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Mackay, It's One of Us by J.T. Ellison. I could keep going, but I don't want to.
So if she did Kristen Hanna, I probably listened to her for 4 Winds. So she's probably on there.
Probably.
That sounds great. I will have to see if there's something that she read that I would be interested in and check her out again.
One of my favorite readers, who I don't follow readers, like I don't actually seek out them, but I'm always pleasantly surprised when I re-encounter them. But one of my favorite is Rebecca Lohman, and the first book I ever listened to by her was Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, which I can't say I actually recommend the book, but I enjoyed the listening to it. It's set in the 80s, and it's about a Korean boy and a white girl who meet and connect over music and other things and want to be together in a relationship despite their differences and the difficulty of the time. But that's read by 2 readers, a man and Rebecca Lohman, and her voice was just so striking and calming to me that I never forgot it. But then I've encountered her. She's done a few Rainbow Rowell books, like Attachments. She did Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, which is a very different. And then the most recent one, which I listened to last year, was Vladimir by Julia May Jonas, which is a book that I just randomly, I think I saw an ad for it online, and I decided to check it out, and then I think I made a Goodreads update when I started it, and her voice came on. So I was like, oh my God, the treat of listening to Rebecca Lohman. But that book is about a college professor, a woman whose husband is a college professor, and he's accused of improper relationships with his students, and her reaction to that is extreme. And that's what the story's about. So I can't say I've ever enjoyed a book by her that I've read, but I love her voice.
So she should narrate books that you like more.
Or I should look to see what books she's narrated that I would like.
Should I read all of them aloud?
No, please don't.
Oh, okay.
Lizzie, do you have what were we talking about? Favorite narrator?
Oh, I like Leslie Howard. She does a lot of Freida McFadden. She did like The Teacher. That's her. Ward D, the inmate. Not coworker. Something else. Never Lie. I like her. She's really good. That's really it.
Tim, do you have any favorites?
No.
Oh.
Because I don't pay attention enough. I think that's it. If I enjoy an audiobook narrator, great. If I don't, I might not listen to it, which has happened. But for the most part, actually, there was a book that I switched over to physical because I didn't like the narrator. And I don't have that information of which book that was.
That's an anti-recommendation anyway. Like,
it was.
Do not seek this out.
Yeah, but that was one of the very few cases where I could not stand the narrator. I just felt like she was not good at narrating at all. It was a celebrity narrator.
No,
that's what it was. It was. I think it was a musician. All right,
but was it a memoir?
No.
Okay,
it was not. I'm gonna find it, and I'm sorry because this is gonna take me a minute, but. It wasn't that long ago, and it really bugged me to the point of just like, I can't do it. Nope. All right, cut this because I'm not gonna cut it anyway. I'm not gonna get it, and it's gonna take me a little while. But it was a musician. She was a musician from the 80s or 90s, and it was basically stunt casting for an audiobook, and she was terrible. So I switched over to the book and. Everything was right in the world, but that was a rough one.
I have another narrator that I would love to shout out, and that's Renee Raudman, who I've listened to a lot of books by her, but not a big variety. She read the Hidden Legacy trilogy, the first trilogy by Ilona Andrews, which is an urban fantasy series about 3 sisters from a magical family in Texas who, they're adults, it's for adults, but they are falling in love and fighting off monsters, and the world is ending as you find in fantasy. But she has sort of a southern lilt to her voice and reads it so effectively that when she passed the baton for the second trilogy that's about a different sister, it was so jarring and I hated it. Even though I did read that one first. I read the second trilogy first. But once you get into someone's voice, and she also narrated the Kate Daniels series by the same author. So I listened to the first book in that series, Magic Bites, and it was very enjoyable to hear her voice again. That's Renee Raudman.
Update. I found the author in the book. So the book is a Final Girl support group.
Oh.
Good book, right?
Grady.
Who was the reader?
Hendricks. Okay, so the reader, and again, this was stunt casting because it is Adrienne King, not a musician. So the Final Girl support group is basically a slasher type of book. It is very much modeled after slasher movies. It plays with those tropes of like meta stuff of slasher movies. So the narrator is a final girl from one of those slasher movies from the 80s. This is the only thing that she's ever done and probably will do. And it was not good. So it's Adrienne King.
Could have been so cool. That makes it even more disappointing.
Yeah, but switching over to the book.
Yeah.
Great. It was a gimmick. Exactly. It was a gimmick, which could go well. This case it did not. So I just read the book, and the book, it was a good book. So, but one thing we haven't talked about yet so far is we love these solo readers, but what about multiple readers for one book? When it's like a cast of readers, or even, let's say that there's 2 or 3 POVs in the book and they have a different reader for each POV. What are your thoughts on that?
Sometimes it can be confusing. There was just this one I was trying to listen to where it was like 2 sisters, but the people sounded like almost the same. So I was like, I'd rather you just be the same person and then me not think about it, because I'm like, wait, is it this girl? Is it girl?
Do you remember which one that was? Because that sounds familiar to me too.
I think it was How to Sell a Haunted House. Let me see.
Isn't that also Grady?
I believe so.
Hendricks?
I actually did not like it. It was, oh no, I think it was Home is Where the Bodies Are. Maybe it was that? Yeah. Sorry, now I'm like confused. Yeah, it was Home is Where the Bodies Are, and I don't know, my Libby like broke and then it just returned to earlier, so I never finished it, but I didn't really care because I was kind of over it. But I did not like that one. Would not recommend that one.
It is hard when the voices are so similar. This usually just happens with female characters where they'll be too similar. And I had that with a recent audiobook too, where I couldn't. It's like, is this another person? And I was too lazy to actually look it up.
Yeah. But also, that's not what you should be thinking about when you're listening to an
Exactly.
audiobook. So
You shouldn't have to think about it.
You shouldn't have.
Right.
You shouldn't. Just the story itself. I think it depends on obviously their voices and how they are together, but also I think a lot of good narrators are also actors, and I think it's the chemistry between actors in like a TV show or a movie or even a play or musical is really important with casting, and I think that should also be considered in audiobook narration, because even if they're not recording together, their voices still need to work, and they still need to be able to play the characters or explain the information in a way that's clear and engaging. Mm-hmm. And I think it's better when they all work nicely together.
That's a good point.
Sorry, go ahead.
I am not always a fan of multicast, but when it's done well, I do like it. And I think it is a good idea when you're listening to a book where the formatting of the book is non-traditional storytelling. Like I have one here called Kill Show, a true crime novel by Daniel Swerin Becker. And it's a book that's in the form of a true crime podcast or a TV show. I don't remember specifically, but all of the people who are involved in the quote-unquote crime are played by a different person. There's audio effects applied to their voices, so there's a character who is in prison, and they're speaking to him over the prison phone, so they put a vocal effect on him so that you can tell by listening.
Something similar would be None of This Is True. Lisa Jewell also involved a podcast, and also involved a lot of those types of production values. It seems like it's a newer thing that they're trying.
Also,
like
Sadie by Courtney Summers.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, I did not like that book either. That was like X-rated. That was so sad to me.
For YA, that was crazy.
I
did like the book, but I read it when I was like 25 and not 16.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the reader of Sadie.
I think I liked the audio production more than the book itself.
Oh, one of the other authors on my list, Rebecca Soler, who read the Fourth Wing books. Oh. She did
Love her.
the Sadie audiobook.
So there's also this, along similar lines, a full cast reading, which the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is American Gods. Neil Gaiman is involved as like the narrator of the story, but then it goes to a very large cast for all of the characters, which means when there's dialogue happening between two characters, they're switching voices for each line of dialogue. I got used to it, but I would prefer not to have that.
I felt the same way with Lincoln in the Bardo, because I don't even know that there had to be a central narrator, but there was a lot of actors that were jumping in. Like it was a very star-studded acting cast as opposed to a narrating cast, and it was jarring because all of a sudden there were very different people speaking. And
it is almost like you're listening to a different type of product. Like it's almost not an audiobook at that point, however you would interpret that. But it
could be an audio drama more of.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. One thing I wanted to shout out was a couple of years ago, this is probably right around the pandemic, there's Lord of the Rings is on audiobook, but it has just one narrator. There is a full cast narration that is not on audiobook. It's a podcast, and it is most definitely not authorized. Oh. And it actually involves flubs that never got edited out. But it was super engaging because for that type of story, it worked to have a full cast. And there's not a large cast in those books anyways. It's really a set of characters that you're kind of just locked in with for each story. That was actually really interesting. I don't know if it still exists anymore. I'd be surprised if it does, because it wasn't called Lord of the Rings or anything like that either.
I think that's cool though, because then that very clearly also exists for the fans.
Absolutely.
And it's very likely by the fans. Yeah. So that makes it extra special. Yeah.
I am wondering, I think we're winding down on our time, but we've given a lot of things that we wouldn't recommend that people listen to. So does anyone have titles that you would like to recommend to the listeners to check out? Meg, do you have any?
Yes, I do. I did have a lot of negative ones, so I'm glad I get to share things that I do like. On my list, I did have Neil Gaiman. I haven't read all of his work, but everything I have read has been narrated by him, and I love it. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, again, was another book that I don't think I would have read unless I was listening to it on audio. It was fantastic. Recently, I think I might have mentioned this on another podcast, but Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, I thought was done very nicely on audio.
Lizzie's listening to that right now.
Oh, are you liking it?
Yeah, it's really good.
And then also Lovely War by Julie Berry was on my list of like full cast books that I think was done really well. That's a YA book set. It's fantasy, but it's supposed to be like a fantastical take on World War I. And Greek and Roman gods are giving influence to humans that are involved in the war. And it's really interesting. And I think it's done very well. And the gods have different voices and the people each other own. Lovely War by Julie Berry.
Sounds good.
That sounds really good.
It needs more attention.
I do have a few titles that I would like to throw out there too. One that I read recently was All Systems Red, which is the first book in the Murderbot Diaries series by Martha Wells. And it's narrated by Kevin R. Free, who I was surprised to hear because I knew him from the Welcome to Night Vale podcast that I used to listen to. Yeah. But he did a wonderful job on that. The YA fantasy book Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson, which was read by Caitlin Davies, is another one of my favorites. It's a book that gives off the feeling of a romantasy, but there isn't romance, very intentionally. Also a horror book, Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano, which is read by a cast of multiple, and it sort of is similar to Kill Show in that there's different types of information that it's expressing, like somebody's reading a book to you, there's an interview on TV, like an interesting format of an audiobook. And one other one that I would recommend is mystery thriller type book called The Center by Aisha Manazir Siddiqui, and it's read by Balvinder Sopal, and it's sort of an atmospheric thriller about a mysterious center where you go to learn languages very quickly and very sinisterly. Those are my recommendations. Lizzie, what do you
First Lie Wins by, oh my god, I just had it, Ashley Elston. That was really good. You by Caroline Kepnes, I think that's it. Really good. That audio book narrator is amazing. And I like Hidden Pictures by Jason, don't know that last name, Verclack. Very good. Those are the ones I have.
Very cool. Tim?
So we mentioned the Thursday Murder Club. Great audiobooks. Also great that we haven't mentioned is that there's an author interview at the end of the book. And I think that's happening a little more frequently now, but it's still, you don't see it too often. And those are excellent because he gives you insight into where the series might be heading, or really just his thought process. And
Richard Osman.
Thank you. And writing the books.
That's so cool.
So that's excellent. And I love the it's like a 15-minute interview sometimes. So it's really nice. Outside of that, I will just recommend one more thing. Junie B. Jones on audiobook
Who narrates it?
Fantastic. Hold on one sec. I have it right here.
I love Junie B. Jones.
I kind of miss reading them to Julia, my 9-year-old, but I got another kid, so they're going to be coming up again. Barbara Park is the author. Lana Quintal is the narrator, and she is really good. And it was just funny because with those, we read them to Julia for a while. And then we were like, let's try the audiobook. And first listener, she's like, I don't like this. As soon as Junie B. Jones talked. And then this was on a car ride. So by like 15 minutes later, we were just like, just give it a chance. She got used to her voice. Because, you know, you have the voice of us reading or just in her head. And she got used to it. And it's great. Series still makes me laugh out loud. I love those books.
My mom read those books out loud to me, and I would laugh hysterically at them. That's so a great series to be read.
As an adult,
smelly bus, iconic.
As an adult, it's still like I've never, it's the first time coming across them. They are hilarious.
They're so good. So, Barbara Park, she knew it was up.
She really
Rest
did.
in peace.
She really did.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Yeah, she's been gone for a little while.
And I'm so sorry if this is news to you.
Yeah. But she's gone. Anyways,
on that note,
on that sad note,
these are our thoughts about audiobooks. I hope you enjoyed some of our recommendations, and please join us next time between the shelves.
Yay!
Bye.